Hey, everybody, welcome to another miserable commentary track. This time, this is one that just kind of came up naturally in a conversation with us, and we're going to examine what some people say is an unsung classic, what some people say is a complete piece of shit. Blair Witch 2 Book of Shadows that contains no books or shadows. This,
Casey, I am so scared right
yes,
now.
same. This is
That's a quote from the first movie.
I know. I'm trying to make the face into the camera with the one eye by hiding behind my microphone.
And it's to no avail because no one can see us.
Yeah, I know. Good times. But yeah, is this another Halloween 3 situation where this is one of those unsung classics that people will like a few years later? Who knows?
Zach
But
is
we're gonna
shaking
do
his head no.
commentary.
This is definitely a great candidate for a Shout Factory release, director's cut.
Yes, even though a lot of people have done the director's cut on YouTube, I found, which is interesting. Like their attempt, because the director's been pretty public about what he wanted in the movie and what he didn't. So that's
Yeah,
kind of cool.
we'll get into that when we start watching the movie.
Yeah, and so
Just going to add Shout Factory. If you need a commentary for that release, you can use this commentary.
Oh, I'm sure they'll be all over it.
put us on the box. Just say, "Is this another
rip it.
Halloween 3 situation?" Question mark. Yeah, it would be great.
Rip it direct.
That was Zach. Say hi, Zach.
Hi, Zach.
All right, this is Casey, and down below me,
Criterion Kid, Chris Pistol.
Why am I below you right now, Casey?
that's just the way that the
Help me out.
screen's set up right now for me.
You're below me too, Chris.
Oh God.
Don't take that like figuratively. It's just like, we're
So
all
really
on a level
quickly-
playing field.
Before we start, we got to tell these people how to find this movie right now, okay? So, yeah, you can watch it on Tubi. If you're going to use that to go along with our commentary, be sure to pause it when those commercials come up because we're not going through commercial breaks. Or you can rent it or buy it from Amazon or pretty much any other video service that you can get a movie on, which is what we're running it on right now. Right, Chris? You're not running it on disc or anything?
No. I was tempted to run down to my local Goodwill and see if I could find a VHS copy, but didn't get around to that. So, but if you want to do that, listener, you're totally welcome to.
Do you own a
Chances are
copy
pretty
of this,
good.
Chris?
I don't.
You don't? I'm surprised.
I don't think there's been a decent Blu-ray release of this, and I'm like frustrated by this movie. I did used to own this on DVD back in like high school, but that DVD has been lost to time.
Yeah, if you're just tuning in for the first time to another Miserable podcast, well, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Miserable Commentary, which we do from time to time, and we talk over some fun horror movies. And Chris is a huge fan of the Blair Witch Project, and
Indeed.
so anytime he can find a way to mention it on the show, he does. And so
Indeed,
today,
and I will talk a lot about it today.
yeah, we're talking over Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2. Which, watching this movie, I don't think I'd seen it since I was like 12 years old. So this is like the third time probably that I'll have seen it at this point today. And I don't think I've seen a sequel that's so removed from the original. Like, you look at, like, Casey mentioned Halloween 3, but that still, like, had the same kind of tone as, like, the Michael Myers entries. It felt like it was in the same universe. And this feels so different than the original, except for the first, like, 5 minutes of the film. And so it's really interesting that they took that drastic of a cut, but obviously there's a lot of reason for that. Is we'll get into during the commentary.
Indeed.
So you guys ready to start things off?
Indeed, we're going to start it off here in just a second. So, listener out there, go ahead and sync your movie up. Go ahead if you're watching this on a computer or on your TV, go ahead and put that cursor all the way to the front to 0, right before the Artisan logo comes up, I believe. So the first thing you see when we hit play should be the Artisan logo, and we're going to do a little countdown. As soon as I count down and I say play, go ahead and press play on your remote or whatever you're watching this on your phone, on your VCR, whatever. You guys ready?
I was
Ready.
born ready.
Okay, here we go. And 3, 2, 1, play.
All right. Artisan Entertainment.
Bringing you quality films.
I really wish Dark Castle Entertainment had tackled this instead. Because like a year later, they were doing House on Haunted Hill, and then they did 13 Ghosts, Ghost Ship, and like that aesthetic, I would have loved to seen them tackle Blair Witch in this era. 'Cause that would have
Yeah,
been really
unlike the
interesting.
first film, they're taking the route of letting you know right up front that this movie is not real.
Mm-hmm.
So unlike the
It is
first film
saying
that
that it
tried
is
very,
based
very hard
on
to make you think it
reality.
was real.
Yeah, still they said it's based on reality. The director did not like that. That was a choice of the studios. Here we're gonna see the homie Kurt Loder.
So
Oh, yeah.
this is the best
Throwback.
part of the movie, folks. So enjoy this 5 minutes because it's great.
I do really like this. Oh, young Conan O'Brien.
This is all from the original movie's actual media. Fuck you, Roger Ebert. Glad you're dead.
What?
Um,
What?
Oh my god! How dare
hey,
you,
I'm
Casey?
surprised you didn't try starting a letter writing campaign to get this movie banned, like he did with Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street.
It is funny. This is one of the few movies that Roger Ebert has a cameo, or like this is on his acting credits now. And obvious actor Bruce.
There's a guy in here named Joe that they talked to. That's the director.
Oh yeah. I was gonna point out
Trying
that
to
when
look
we get
out
this.
for it.
Okay, now yeah, Zach, you mentioned that this is like the best part of the movie, and I would have to agree with you. This sort of quasi like faux documentary, where it's not
Oh,
really
I'm probably a
trying to be
couple
real
seconds
at all.
behind you guys now because I did not have the captions.
Oh Jesus. Well,
So they're
anyway.
showing footage of the incredible website for the film, which was
Indeed.
part of
Yes,
the
I
fun.
see that now.
And I think some of these are actually real people. Like this woman, I believe,
Probably.
is real.
Have you guys? So how did you guys get into the Blair Witch Project? Because I rented the first movie from Blockbuster, and it came with the great extra feature documentary, The Curse of the Blair Witch. You would get that
Yes.
as a free rental with it, which is amazing and should count as another Blair Witch movie. It's actually what they were intending to do with the first one and change their mind. It is a mock In Search of special that follows the Blair Witch mythos
Did
and
they make that
documentary and actually
before
reels
the
a
Blair
lot.
Witch Project, or did they make that afterwards?
They made it after.
Okay.
Yeah, because it uses some of the movie's footage in
Oh,
it.
here we go. Ronald
There's
Craven's
no goddamn Blair Witch.
the greatest sheriff in cinema history.
Apparently based off of one of the sheriffs in Paradise Lost, which this director made incredible documentary about some kids wrongfully accused of murder. They're really great. I think they're all available on HBO Max, and they
Yes.
are definitely worth seeing.
Yeah, I showed Paradise Lost to my film class last couple years ago. And I drove through West Memphis like last week.
And
Nice.
here's where it takes a turn.
Yeah, this is weird shit. This is I'm not sure what doctor in 1999 is smoking cigarettes while performing what I can only guess is some sort of a prank on his patients.
Apparently, this is inspired by the Titicut Follies, and this scene is in that movie. I don't remember if the guy's smoking or not, though.
What film?
The Titicut Follies?
I have not seen that movie.
Oh, man.
Yeah, if this movie,
That's when
I
we
think I
had
feel
to
like this
watch in
movie
film
is
school.
multiple movies cut together to try to make one movie, and this is definitely its own thing. There's nothing like this in the rest of the movie, really.
Well, these scenes were added because the studio wanted it.
Right.
So here's the
Right.
thing. The director had an idea of what movie he wanted to make. Basically, the original filmmakers of the Blair Witch Project are like, fuck it, we don't want to do a sequel. Yeah, this guy getting
Why is
sprayed
the
with a
camera
fire hose
shaking all
almost-
around?
Burn notices Jeffrey Donovan.
So
Oh,
Burn
shit.
Notice, great show, by the way. But
He is on Burn Notice. Shit.
yeah, this the whole thing is that the filmmakers didn't want to make a sequel to Blair Witch. They wanted the hype to die down a bit. The studios are like, no, fuck you, man. We want one now. So we'll just make you
I like
guys
this shot for the
executive
record.
producers. So the producers, they were attached as producers for this movie. That's why it has the Hacks and Films logo at the beginning.
And this
But
this Marilyn Manson song.
Yes, that they originally wanted Frank Sinatra's Witchcraft instead. Kind of a
Right.
big change, even though I think
Ugh.
both of them
Kind
treat
of
women the
changes the
same way.
tone.
These gore shots also added because of the studio had shot only like a few weeks before the movie was actually released.
Yeah, if you
So there
if you
were
listen to
some.
the actual director's commentary or you go on IMDb and read the trivia, you'll know that the original tone for the opening of this movie was supposed to be very different. It was supposed to be much more comedic, much more sort of basically a satirical look at the first film. And then the movie was supposed to kind of get darker as it went on. But yeah, they just totally threw that out the window because the studio didn't understand subtlety whatsoever.
Well, and there was a couple other problems with the later on thing because the script wasn't done by the time they started shooting. And that's
Right.
if any of you've seen any of the Elm Street sequels or the Friday the 13th sequels where this happened, you know that could be a very major problem. Have a script before you shoot. It's filmmaking 101 stuff. But the director only had like 9 or 11 months to deliver this movie. So it's kind of a wonder it got made at all. I actually rather like this movie, despite its flaws. I think it's interesting the first couple times you watch it. The
There's
more
like
you watch it,
gold
the more you
nuggets in
realize,
this movie.
yes, but you realize nothing happens between those nuggets, right? Like,
Yeah, hence my problem with the movie. I just like didn't know what I was watching, and you're getting all these flashbacks like he's being interrogated, and you're like, wait, who is this person? We just saw him
Right.
like, you know, he was just like a hippie dude, like fan of the Blair Witch, and then all of a sudden you see him in a mental asylum, and now you're getting another flashback. You've gotten so many different time cards that you have no idea what like
so
when the
many
movie
hair
bulk of the movie takes
styles.
place.
Burn Notice has so many different hairstyles in the first 3 minutes of this movie that it's very interesting.
Yeah, I think the first time I saw this movie, I didn't understand that that was him in the insane asylum. I was just like, what the hell was that all about? Oh, it's the same
And
person.
here we go. This is supposed to be like a tour bus, and these are two people that are on the tour, and it just looks like they're on a road trip.
Still the coolest van, though, really.
Well, it's
like, if you're going to have a creepy.
It's a very low rent tour, essentially. But this is the stuff I like. I mean, I like the core concept of this film. I'm a huge fan of what I think the director was going for with this film. And obviously, like coming off of Paradise Lost, making this documentary about supposed violence that occurred based on, hysteria or, occult stuff, which I think Paradise Lost is very much about how all that is bullshit and about how, like, the combined hysteria of the town in which those murders took place is really like what those films are about. I think that's kind of what this film is trying to do as well.
At least the original version up to the director, right? Like up to his devices.
Right.
And we're about to meet not Firuza Balk.
No, very much
No.
not.
Notice the graveyard says treacle. The gravestone says treacle. And then
Treacle is one of the victims from Blair Witch, so it lines up.
You think this part was like intended for Firuza Balk, and they just couldn't get her?
I don't know. The movie would have been better, but then she would have been a lot more sinister. I don't know. And the only time I've seen Firuza Balk not be sinister in a movie is Return to Oz, and then everything else in that movie is sinister. Very horrifying film.
So the core concept of this movie about, these people sort of descending upon Burkittsville, which really happened, by the way, in the commentary for the first Blair Witch Project, the directors at the very beginning say, stay out of Burkittsville. Don't go to Burkittsville. Yeah. Like, they hate us there because people just descended upon the town thinking it was real, and started up these tours as well.
So this guy's got a bug bite on his neck that's driving me insane. Either that or it's a hive because he's allergic to the wool in his jacket. But
I'm still trying to figure out how that guy is only 31 years old.
Jesus Christ, he looks 47. Like I am a solid 42 years old, and this guy looks a good 10 years older than me.
Another confusing element of this movie, though, is the fact that this is basically an imagined world where in the reality of this movie, Blair Witch Project is a movie but the footage is real. Like they talk about the Blair Witch as if, you know, those 3 people really did go missing, and
Mhm.
there's all of this like history. And, you know, Casey, we talked about the Curse of the Blair Witch Project documentary, which is a great
Yeah.
documentary. I think it's on YouTube.
Oh, nice. Everyone
I know
needs
it's
to
on
see that. Yeah.
I know it's on Tubi. But yeah, that's you
Nice.
almost honestly, you can't really like fully even, I don't think, understand this movie unless you've seen that documentary.
Right. And
which I
only
have not.
people. Okay, so
Oh,
here's the thing, Zach.
Oh god.
You could only get that if you rented the movie from Blockbuster. It wasn't for sale. It wasn't available anywhere else at the time. But now you can
It
stream
was
it,
at
and
my little
everyone
mom
can
and
see it.
pop video store.
In this universe, the Blair Witch Project came out, and it's supposedly just a movie, but some people think it's real, right? Is that kind of like the debate, like the background of this movie? Like, obviously, it's based off the backlash that the movie had in real life,
Right.
and so they're playing
Right.
off of that.
Except for
there's a lot of
in the
yeah,
world
go.
of this movie, 3 people really did go missing in the woods. Which
Okay.
never really happened.
I gotta say, I did have a really dumb friend that thought that shit was real.
Yeah, but you have
Yeah.
people in this film saying it's just a movie, so they don't believe that people went missing or whatever, right? Or
Well,
You gotta
I think what I think happened in the world of this movie is that 3 people went missing in the woods. They found their footage, and then they made a movie based on that event. Is how like I read it anyway.
And then people think it's
Okay.
just fake, that it was actors.
Because they're supposedly like at the site where they found the footage. Is what's
Right? And
happening in the
never
scene.
once here do they say that it was made for the movie. This is a real site where they found the footage.
is this supposed to be like the house at the end of the Blair Witch Project, like the remnants of it, or is it just
Yeah.
supposed to be, and the house is just mysteriously not there because it didn't exist, or because
Well, I think in the world of this movie, that house is like only in the footage. Like there is no house. Like that's like a mystery of the footage.
So hence my confusion. See, this would have
Yeah.
been interesting if they got the same 3 people from the Heather Donahue and the other 2 guys, and had like them do talking heads in this movie, and like it wasn't real. It's just we were actors.
Well,
like if they really
that's
went meta
what
with it.
That's what the next Blair Witch movie was all about. And that kind of explains the whole house thing in the new Blair Witch movie, even though it doesn't consider this one canon, but I actually think it could. I think it works.
Well, the remake that Adam Wingard did, that was like no, the main character in that is like Heather's sister or brother, right?
That's not a
So-
yeah, it's not a remake. It's a direct sequel to the first one.
Yeah, it's a direct sequel to the first one. So
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a direct sequel to the first one, ignoring this. So this has been retconned out of existence,
Kind of.
where I do think that this could fit.
So yeah, we have this tree that appeared out of nowhere. We have more of these like fever dream images that are just showing bloodshed. And
Yeah, and the fever dreams stuff sucks. I think that's a crew member in the background behind our blonde actress here.
So what we're not hearing here, and one of my issues with this movie is it has a very aggressive, like kind of percussion heavy sort of score. You're constantly hearing beats and stuff. There's just no really atmosphere to this movie. It's like it doesn't really set much of a mood because you're like there's no silence in this movie, which is what like the first original like film excelled so much in, is creating such a tense atmosphere and just like the quiet, and then you're just with these 3 people and their arguments and their frustrations are so like genuine and authentic, and that's why it fooled so many people into thinking it was real, because it comes across as so genuine. And this movie is like the exact opposite. It's 90s slasher. It feels like they're like, let's take like elements of Scream and the Evil Dead Lost in a Woods thing and add some psychological stuff to it and see what comes out of it. And some of it's really interesting, but it doesn't really have a consistent tone, and that's kind of my issue with it. And I know there's a lot of commentary here on.
I think that's all because of the studio's fault of like wanting to change things and make it more like horror centric towards the beginning. And I think a lot of the like stuff that is in here about like that is kind of reminiscent of those horror movies is also intentional, because this movie is sort of like a meta commentary about the effects of horror movies on people, just like on the people who consume them. Like there's a lot of like little references to Evil Dead and The Exorcist and stuff in this that was supposed to be like sort of metatextual, but it kind of just comes off like it's just like random or.
And I know there's a lot of commentary here with the the Erica character, because apparently like a lot of the Wiccan community, like they were very upset with the original and thought it kind of cast
Sure.
their art, like witch, craft and stuff in a bad light, and that it's evil. And so this was kind of an attempt apparently to sort of comment on that and say, no, not all witches are bad.
I gotta say, guys, I'm cool with the witch. This goth character fucking sucks.
Well, she's very much not like, she's very atypical of like, your Fairuza Balk kind of the craft sort of goth character. She's a little,
but she thinks she's psychic, but she actually is, and she's just a way for the story to advance without them having to figure out how to really do it. Like, I know where the tapes are. They're over there. It's like,
Yeah, I mean, all of these characters are basically like sort of archetypes of like people who were fans of the movie in 1999. The Wiccan, the Erica represents the Wiccan community. We've got like sort of the outsider with Kim, the two rational scientists who kind of want to break it all down, and then the one person, who's just like taking advantage of the whole situation, who's just out for profit.
Yeah. But I mean, that's how many people trying to make found footage movies after this, right? Like it's a pretty solid representation. I do got to say, his camera makes me super nostalgic because we use those in school. And they looked a lot better than the footage they're showing.
Till like 2007.
Yeah, and he doesn't know how to focus to save his fucking life.
Is that like videotape?
Yeah, it's mini DV,
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, oh gosh, I forget the numbers for it, but yeah, we definitely use those. There's another one he shows that I'm like, oh my god, yeah, our school used those too. But
if you're a fan of the Wrong Turn franchise, you might recognize Erica Learson because she was one of the leads in Wrong Turn 2. Fun movie. Little fun fact.
Also, 13 Ghosts, I believe.
Was she in 13 Ghosts? I don't think so.
Maybe something else.
She's in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2000.
Texas Chainsaw, yes.
Which I forgot. I know her more from Wrong Turn 2. So
yeah, so what they're talking about here, like with people being obsessed about the Blair Witch and about sort of, is it true? Is it not true? And then people's perception kind of becoming the reality, that kind of all plays into what eventually is going to happen in this movie. Again, it's sort of like muddled by the studio in sort of like giving things away, I think, too early. But Zach, as someone who didn't remember anything about this movie and watched it kind of sort of fresh for the first time, did you kind of like guess what was going on with all of these with all those really terrible flashbacks?
Honestly, my main memories of it were in the latter portion of the movie when we get to the house, because I remembered that set, which we'll talk about, and I just remembered a lot of it taking part in this set, but I honestly had very little memory of this movie. And so watching it, I'm just like, it's so removed from the original, and it's so
watching
different.
It for the watching it like you watched this before we recorded our commentary. Did you remember like the ending and kind of like what ends up kind of happening?
I honestly, I didn't really remember much of anything. I watched the original Blair Witch right before it just to kind of see them back to back, and yeah, I just didn't I blotted this out on my memory.
Kroger
when I was
from
so young.
Nickelback here.
Yeah.
Oh.
Should have sang him to death. Oh gosh.
No comment on Nickelback one way or another. Just staying out of that.
Zach is a secret Nickelback fan.
No, I did not say that. I'm just not if you are a Nickelback fan, good for you. I'm not gonna hate on you if you like Nickelback. Enjoy what you enjoy.
Hey, I'd say get some taste, but you're listening to our podcast, so clearly you don't have any anyway.
Whoa.
Yeah, I saw this in the theater, you guys. Okay, I saw this in the theater, and I liked it. All of my friends hated it that saw it.
Did anyone walk out?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm pretty sure I saw this in the theater with my girlfriend and her sister, and we all thought it was decent. I'm not going to say this is a great movie by any means. The only thing is, the more times I watch this, the more that the lengthy times that nothing happens seem to stretch longer and longer upon repeat viewings.
We're 20 minutes into the movie, and I still don't know why they're like exactly what they're doing. Like I know they're in the woods.
They're on a Blair Witch tour.
Yeah, they're
but I
gonna
mean,
hunt the
like,
Blair
They
Witch,
want
dude.
to.
what is the
Yeah, they want
what
to
is
try
the
to commune
driving
with the witch.
action? What is the driving action? Because it isn't really like that clear cut.
I mean, the scientist guys are like scientists who are, you know, skeptics who want to sort of like either be proven right or wrong. We have the Wiccan character who wants to commune.
So yeah, they're researching the Blair Witch to write a book about the Blair Witch being like an expose of it being fake, unless they
Right.
find something convincing them otherwise.
they're
Goth
convinced
Girl's
it's
just there
hysteria.
because she thinks dead shit's cool. And
And I think you're kind of led to believe at this point though that this is going to be kind of like the first movie where a group of people go into the woods and then scary shit happens to them and they're kind of killed off one by one. And we're going to learn here in a few minutes that's exactly what's not going to happen, which I like. I like that sort of
yeah,
like left turn that the movie makes.
very conscious decision to not make anything scary happen in the woods because it's all other places.
Nothing scary happens at all in the movie.
I don't
not a
know.
scary movie.
Hey, we just had a fake out jump scare.
Yeah.
Unless
bunch of
ghost
people
children
smoking
scare
weed.
you, like really like jittery, like low frame ghost children scare you. They do some clever things here that I like. Where it goes, I think is interesting. It's just like narratively in the way it's told, and obviously that happened in the editing room. I just don't think it was that successful. And again, I just don't know if I like it as a Blair Witch sequel. You know, I think they easily could have done, let's take, 4 super fans of the movie that want to go explore the woods and see if, try and contact, kind of similar to what Adam Wingard did, but maybe make some more interesting choices. But I mean, they easily could have done something that felt more authentic to the original. I do appreciate that he wanted to go very far and removed from that. I just like the first 5 minutes of this movie, I think are so great. And I would have liked to have seen that explored more, or if that kind of footage was interspersed maybe more throughout the movie rather than, some of the mental asylum things or the fever dream stuff. Like I just would have liked to have seen more of that kind of interview talking head footage incorporated throughout the thing that kind of commentated on the phenomenon of the Blair Witch and kind of,
I mean, yeah,
I don't know.
I think my like idea for like a sequel for the Blair Witch, that is a very fake owl. My idea for like a sequel for the Blair Witch would be to do like a prequel, which is basically what the witch is. You're just now seeing the owl.
I'm like a half second behind you guys. It's okay.
Sounds like you're like
a
15 seconds behind.
No, I'm like 2 seconds behind you guys. It's fine.
Okay. Well, anyway, so the idea that I had for like a Blair Witch sequel like years ago was that they should do basically a prequel, which is basically like what The Witch is, the Robert Eggers film. So if you just pretend that that's at least like the one of the main witches in the movie The Witch is the Blair Witch, then that actually works.
So did you guys ever see the Blair Witch
doll.
action figure? Yeah, it's such a realistic ass baby right there.
Yes,
have you guys
I remember the Blair Witch action figure. I remember seeing it in Suncoast Video.
I have not seen this.
It is ridiculous.
I mean, it ended up looking like the Blair Witch pretty much looked. Well, depending on which version you got, there was one with horns, and then there was one with not horns.
Are you talking about the so-called Blair Witch from the Adam Wingard movie?
Yeah, the one without
which isn't
horns
really the Blair Witch, apparently.
Yeah, it sort of still looks like it. But yeah, there was another one with horns that just kind of looked like Darkness from Legend, but mixed with like a Deadite. The Todd McFarlane Movie Maniacs line decided to release a Blair Witch figure, and there were 2 different versions of it, like there were with a lot of the Movie Maniacs. The other Movie Maniacs had gory versions that were available at some stores, and versions without gore that weren't, or still from Species had nipples in some stores and didn't have nipples in others.
We learned later on.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say we learned later on, that Spoilers, by the way. If you've never seen this movie for the first time, you should not be listening to our commentary. So I'm going to talk about spoilers for the end of this movie.
Do not.
We learned at the end of the movie that they ripped up all of these papers themselves and like threw them up in the air. Not sure why they're still falling from the sky. The wind must be insane if it's still just picking up all these pieces of paper and throwing them around.
I'm not going to explicitly spoil things, but I will say just pay attention to the fact that they're all wearing clothes right now, which might be.
Well, yeah. They put them back on, Zach.
Sure, they remember that, I guess. Why would they put their clothes back on? Like, what the fuck? Such a plot hole.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't really make sense.
That'll make sense at the end of the movie if it's the first.
By the way, this entire scene was dubbed, and you can really tell. I think because there are fans going on in the background that are blowing all.
You can't tell as much if you're watching it with captions on mute right now. But yeah. I will say I'm enjoying watching this so much more without the soundtrack, which ruined a lot of the movie for me.
This movie has no idea of time economy because she says where the tapes are, and it takes a good 5 minutes for him to actually dig them out.
Dude,
it's like, just look for the fucking tapes.
That dude sucks so much. he's such a buzzkill, and it's like, why is he hanging out with these people? And obviously, it's because his girlfriend or fiance, wife, whatever their relationship is.
Yeah, that's another aspect of this movie that doesn't really make sense. Is that after what's about to happen happens, there's no reason for these people to stay together. They all should have just gone their separate ways.
Yeah, like this tour sucked. We're gonna go.
Yeah, like if you're on a tour if you're like on a tour, say like I don't know, a multi-day tour, whatever kind that might be, and someone has an abortion, or not an abortion, someone has a miscarriage, excuse me, and has to go to the hospital. You stop the tour, you go home, the tour's over. You don't hang around with that person.
Yeah. So Chris, check this out. Okay, they're pulling the tapes out. They later watch the tapes to see what happened, and they find a tape that's showing the tapes being hidden. How the fuck did they get that tape?
that tape is still in the camera.
They like edited or rewound, yeah, something like that. But I was gonna say, getting back to the tour aspect, what part of this felt like a tour? He wasn't giving him a tour of anything. Like he's like, here's what Rustin Parr's house or whatever. Let's camp here and get high and.
I'm assuming that the next day they were gonna go hit more locations.
Oh, we got some more Yosemite Sam interrogations. Apparently, none of these interrogations were going to happen until the end of the film to just show that something happened. This is going to be a big mystery, and now it's like, well, we already know something else happened.
I like to think this detective wasn't even an actor, and they just he was an actual detective, and he's in this movie.
The sheriff is definitely an actor. He's been in a lot of their stuff.
He's like,
that guy is so great.
We're gonna need you to talk like Yosemite Sam fucked Foghorn Leghorn, and then call this guy boy a lot.
Yeah, so what's going on here? You have this tour group, and they're joining. This tour group has gone to the hospital with this girl that they don't know. And, what is going on? Oh, this guy is so great though.
I'm sure the real life sheriff of Burkittsville really appreciated this performance.
Yes.
Unless he's an actual hick, like even worse than this actor.
He's just like, why did you make me so Southern? It makes no sense.
I would have preferred if the movie just followed this detective around.
What I've learned from movies is that if you go into rural areas, it doesn't matter where you are in America. If you're in a rural area, you're in the South. Mm-hmm. Suddenly people start to have accents.
Yeah, Bakersfield.
Their teeth start missing.
Mm-hmm. Bakersfield and Riverside. Mm-hmm.
And this nurse straight out of the 50s.
Maryland is far east, though. It's not that southern. Is it?
Oh, it's
not. No, it's not southern at all.
Yeah, it's not southern. It's on the edge of the East Coast.
Okay, so this is a cool shot. We never go back to it ever again. Never referenced. Nothing.
Talking about the little girl.
Yeah, that was creepy. The weird dance back was sort of odd, but again, I'm not hearing the music here, but it sets no mood at all. There's just, and it's quick
I
to
mean,
like
that
these
scared the shit out of me
flashbacks and these.
as a 9-year-old watching this movie, or 11-year-old.
Sure, but like there's no tension to that. You're just kind of like it's moving so fast and it's so schizophrenic. This movie, that's how I would describe it. It's
Yeah,
very schizophrenic.
yeah, it's true. It's about the MTV generation, man.
That's it. Feels like an MTV movie. It's
No, I feel like more would be happening. Like a lot more, especially for the next hour.
I'm also imagining the person who wrote this movie going, okay, they kind of have to stay in the woods though. So, I don't know, maybe the guy lives in an abandoned factory in the woods.
this is the most like obvious set of a like no one lives in this place like this. This is a dude that was like in a like a mental asylum hospital, and he gets out and he has this big ass factory that he lives in that just looks like a place no one would live in. It looks like where the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would reside. Like that's what it looks like.
I mean, as an 11-year-old, I thought it was badass.
No, it
Yeah,
looks
same.
awesome. It
Same.
looks awesome, but I'm like, no one would like. That's not. This guy wouldn't live there. This guy has no money. Like, how is
Right.
like?
No, and
you're
they
telling me
would just
they
He
be
gave
says
you?
a
he
bunch
says
of-
the guy sold it to him for $1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure they did.
In real life, it would be full of broken glass and graffiti that says "Hail Satin" instead of Satan.
Again, though, why it does remind me of a set you would see in a Dark Castle entertainment movie, you know, like a 13 Ghosts sort of thing or something like that. It still just feels so like out of bounds from, you know, the Blair Witch, and it's so like obviously a set, and you know the detail here is great, but it's such a shift. I just like it's so weird, man. Am I watching a Blair Witch movie? This is so strange to me.
I'll say this. I'll say
It's
this.
the goth
I'll say
girl
this.
being cringe.
I would rather have this than basically what they did with the sequel a few years ago, which is just the same damn thing.
Yeah,
Just like
There's
going
a
into the
balance
woods.
between these two. Like this is to me too far out the door, but I will agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
Adam Wingard's was just very safe, and it needed more of like the first 5 minutes of this movie. Those talking heads,
Well-
and seeing the residents, and like talking about the lore of the Blair Witch, and you know making more risky, bold choices. To me, this is just a little too far removed from the original.
This was a
but
very
that's just my
risky-
opinion.
This is a very risky, bold choice that cost them millions and millions of dollars to the point where this made like 1/8 the budget. I'm sorry, 1/8 of the gross of the last film.
I thought it did turn a
and-
profit. It did turn a profit.
I don't know if it turned a profit. It did, but it wasn't. It didn't perform to expectations like at all.
Oh no, not at all.
To the point
but
where the director stopped making narrative films for like 20 years.
Did you guys try and make Blair Witch symbols with sticks?
Oh, dude. So
Oh,
like
yeah.
when
I made a Blair Witch
when I
parody
was the
film.
announcer, I was the announcer for New Level Wrestling. Uh, they used to like where they had the ring where they would set up and practice for shows. There was a giant stickman symbol that people used to scare people off of the road, and it was pretty great. Like this, it was like a 6-foot stickman. It's pretty awesome.
So this guy like how like far after like he got out of the asylum, saw this movie, and put all this together in this factory within the span of what, like 5 months?
No, it's
I
long
would
enough
think
for
a
his
couple
hair to
years.
grow back, man.
Yeah, I would think it would be a couple
No,
years.
like this is all 1999, but the movie came out in 1999, right?
98, I
This
think.
no, the 99. This
No,
came out in
99.
2000.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
this
they
came out
said
in
he was in the institution in 98.
I'm just saying, when did he get the time to like put all this like
Oh,
get all that
it's-
merch together?
It's very
By himself.
specific. It is covered in this because they ask him about seeing the movie, and he says he couldn't see it when it first came out because he was in the hospital.
Oh yeah, you're
It's
right.
amazing. So
You're
they do give
right.
you a time frame.
Which is
I still don't
which
see
doesn't
how
work.
he managed
which
all this.
Zach is actually correct in saying that that's absurd that he got all this together very quickly. He was in the hospital when the movie came out, and now it's about like only like within a year of the movie coming out.
Yeah, this guy, that guy, and the gurney there. I mean, and we have this tour group that's just staying at this tour dude's pad that they barely know for some reason.
Yeah, why don't
Like,
they just go home?
She just had a miscarriage. Like it's like, okay, let's put the book on the back burner for a minute. We need like
If nothing else, you
Talk
want
about
better
this.
vibes. You know, you want to get away from the vibes of your miscarriage, which is Blair Witch.
yeah. I just think it's,
Oh.
again, the original was like three college kids out in the woods, very desolate, very, again, and if it just, that movie feels so authentic. And so again, this is such a contrast. I'm going to keep repeating this probably throughout the movie, but let's comment on what's actually going on. But I don't want to be a negative Nancy here. I think there's merit to this movie and there's some interesting choices. I just wish it had a more consistent
Okay.
tone throughout.
I've got another idea for a sequel. Okay. Make it a I think you can keep maybe like some of the core elements of this movie, but make it like a David Fincher-esque like mystery, like have like someone who is trying to investigate like what happened to the kids essentially in the first movie.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
that's fair.
That's it. That's my pitch.
I'd be good with it.
Or you could do what basically the recent Blair Witch video game did, which was very creative. Did you guys
That game,
Did you
people
guys play
need
that game
to.
or?
No, I still need to play it, but I've heard it's great.
I've watched a couple of Let's Plays on it, and it's very creative. Basically, it's about a guy who is looking for a kid who disappeared in the woods in the Black Hills.
Yeah.
It takes place in like modern times, so it's like years after the original, the three kids in the Blair Witch Project, and it's about a guy who goes looking for a kid who's missing in the Black Hills, and he basically gets lost inside of the woods with his trusty dog.
Is that your sequel idea?
I mean, that would be a better
Chris?
sequel idea than anything they've done so far.
But is that your idea?
No, it's the game.
No, that's the game. That's what the game does.
Oh, the game, the movie, the game. Oh no, the video game. I didn't
video
play
game,
the
yeah.
game, so yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. It was a weird release. See, the thing is, they made it a Microsoft exclusive for a really long time, and by the time they released it for other systems, people had stopped caring about it and just watched Let's Plays of the Microsoft version.
I like
The
the two
Xbox version?
heads inside the TV right here.
Yeah.
kinda
What is
awesome.
like? You got the freak
Again,
show
that's
poster.
like, what would
banner?
happen if a 20-year-old took over a giant factory and made it his house?
Yeah, I mean the set design is impressive. It's interesting anyway.
He would make it the Ninja Turtle lair, essentially.
Like, yeah, it's what it
See,
looks like.
You can make the Ninja Turtle lair, but a cool person would make the Foot Clan lair. You know what I mean? The place is great.
So, Zach, have you heard about the secret of S River?
No, what is that?
So that was a thing on the DVD that sort of explained Easter eggs that are hidden throughout this film.
Yeah, I've heard the Easter eggs.
Yeah, so there are like 6 or so Easter eggs hidden within the film.
And it's just like stickmen in random places, more or less, right?
Stickmen, words on like walls or that appear throughout the film.
That ghost lady looked like shit to me. So like the first one was cool. That
It's a
one is
dated
like,
effect.
is that like if that's your scare in this like movie? Like 13
Right.
Ghosts came out
She
like I
shouldn't
don't know,
have
a couple
been
years
like
later.
walking backwards. Should have just been like he had opened that up and she was just standing there. That would have been creepy as fuck. But there's a motif here and it's reversed. Play the tapes in reverse.
The
Mhm.
girl that had the miscarriage looks distractingly like Laura Linney. Is that just me?
She does.
She so much so.
Whoa.
Yeah.
She acts like Laura Linney too.
Yes, she does. It's
What
like
I mean, not
how is
very
that
good.
not Laura
I'm not
Linney?
a Laura Linney fan. Anyway, the Easter eggs that are hidden without this film spelled out a phrase, and if you like typed that phrase into the website, then it like I can't remember what happened. I think it gave you another sort of like Easter egg or something.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was great, but I wish I could have explored.
And it's
more of
only on the
website.
DVD version. Apparently the stuff doesn't show up in this version. It is only on the DVD version.
Really?
Yeah, I mean the
Whatever.
marketing was great. I mean, I think when Cloverfield came out, they aped a lot from like the Blair Witch Project marketing, probably.
Well,
their-
yeah. I mean,
Oh,
it's great marketing. I mean, they just stole the marketing from Cannibal Holocaust, but it worked.
Well, Cloverfield was essentially like trying to recapture the Blair Witch again in a
And it
post
did.
9/11 world. It did in a probably smaller way. I don't think Cloverfield was like a phenomenon like the Blair Witch Project was.
Oh, it was in high school, dude. Every one of my friends was talking about that
It was a
movie.
big movie. I'm not saying it wasn't, but yeah, it wasn't like a.
And
I
it's
don't think it was a
spawned a lot
cultural
of
touchstone
sequels.
like the Blair Witch Project.
It didn't have its own motion sickness named after it, even though people would get it in Cloverfield as well. Maybe they just shot it like this so they wouldn't give people motion sickness. Do people think about that? I mean, okay, you see this, it's pretty fucking clear it's her, and they don't pick
Yeah.
that up yet.
No, like, there's only like 4 people in your group.
Yeah.
She has very distinctive hair.
Yeah,
God, I
they're
bet
like
she smells like an ashtray.
they're trying to like uncover the secret footage. I'm not really sure how they do this. Oh, it's like they end up playing the tapes in reverse, and that's how they uncover
Yeah.
footage. Never had that happen, so that's some pretty
Never.
magical realism within
Mhm.
DV technology.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing you watch this while you're going to film school. You're like, oh, all right, yeah, sure, okay. He does have a pretty nice editing system for the time, though. I do got to say that.
And none of the characters really seem to like each other very much, which I think is another sort of like, I don't know, not a great element to the story.
Right, no one's really likable either. Like,
Yeah, they don't like
No.
these characters are kind of just so like this dude is a tool. The Wicked is probably the most interesting character.
and I mean, it's not the actors because we've seen them in other stuff where they are likable, like Bird Notice, for example. Great show.
Have you ever seen the SNL sketch where it's the entire there's a game show and the entire premise of the game show is what is the plot of Burn Notice? which I don't really know either because I've never really watched it.
I haven't watched much of it
you-
too. I just
You can watch it for like 5 or 6 episodes and not get it because my girlfriend used to watch the show a lot. And so every once in a while I'd be over there and she'd be watching. I'd be like, what the fuck is this show? What are they doing?
On the game show, they just show you clips from the show and they say, okay, what's this show about? And they have no idea.
From what I understand and what I've seen, it's a great show, very similar to Chuck. But I could be way off. Honestly.
Chuck was a great show for the time.
It reminded me of Psych as well. Here's where the movie gets horny for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because horror movie.
The sequence confused the hell out of me the first time I saw it.
Oh, she's gonna have to suck on that bug bite. Oh.
Again, I'm like, what movie am I watching? This is Blair Witch 2? Like, how?
There's like harmonica music playing in the background.
You know what else? This like aesthetically, this movie reminds me a lot of Hollow Man.
Yeah. Except less horny.
Yeah. Yeah, it's way even just. Oh shit! It's the Mark of Thorn. He's fucking Michael Myers, dude.
And then some added violence.
See that? It's like let's steal a gag directly from Elm Street 2. It's all good. It's all good.
I don't know, dude. If I was like squinting, I would say I was watching an episode of Xena Warrior Princess or something right now. Like,
Oh come on! It looks better than that.
no, hey, not a mark on Xena. Xena was a cool show for the time. I don't have anything against Xena, but like aesthetically, like the color palette. I mean, obviously this
Very
this
brown.
the girl was playing
Yeah.
the Wiccan. You know,
Lots of brown.
Oh gosh, it's like you practically see her face in the shot. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Come on. Okay. They had to wait until there to realize it. Come on.
Why can't they all
Yeah,
just
I
like
don't know.
kind of realize, oh, we were all fucked up and we don't remember?
Yeah. It's like, oh, how come no one thinks that the weed was laced or something? Come on.
Yeah, that would be the first thing I would go to. Is like, okay, seriously, so we
Did
we must
tour
have been
guide
drugged
roofie us?
because we did shit and we don't remember.
Right. Right. And did this tour guide do it? Instead, they blame the witch instead of the tour guide, which I think is a weirder jump than anything you could rationally really make.
Yeah, well, they're all
I
having
do
these
like that
like
he's drinking out of a
hallucinations.
stick man coffee cup, though.
I still
Right.
don't know why this group of people has decided to stick together and they're like like this tour was a total like
Yeah.
why are you hanging around? Like I don't understand.
Somehow they're invested in finding out what happened to them, even though nothing really. They have no reason. They don't know that the other people are dead yet, so they have
Yeah,
no real
papers were
reason.
torn up.
They have no
They got
reason
really
to really be
high.
like, "There's a mystery we have to solve."
Yeah, it just there's no connective tissue here.
And then the bit with Erica and the waitress or the lady at the store or whatever it is
When we get
makes
to
no sense in context to the other blackout killings. It's like
I
completely
mean,
separate event.
it's one of my favorite scenes in the movie though.
kind of what I understand is happening, and what the movie wants you to think happened is that they are, or is that there's a possibility of them still being under either a spell or under some sort of mass sort of or mass hysteria.
Another mark of thorn right there. Look at that.
Although, yeah, these physical like things that are happening, because later they show that they're gone.
And again, why is this happening? Because did they desecrate anything? Not really. You kind of find out why it happens later, but there was no like inciting incident to like in the Blair Witch. He knocks over one of the the cairns or whatever, the pile of rocks or something, and that kind of
Yeah.
why they get hunted. In this, there's nothing that like
Kind of.
triggers exactly what they're doing. You kind of find out something later on that maybe someone cast some sort of incantation or spell, but why exactly you don't find out what happened there or what caused this person to do that. So supposedly,
This is funny.
yeah, this is great.
That guy's like 12.
Yeah, I know. I would never like fuck with someone like that.
See, that would have been great if Cassandra Peterson played the clerk, like the sales clerk.
So Zach, you have no idea what this thing with the repairman is.
No, what is the repairman?
So that's like he's supposed to be Rustin Parr, a guy who
He
that
is.
killed. Yeah, because in the first movie, I guess if you really know the first movie really well, you can pick up on it. But it's like more detailed in that documentary. He killed these kids out in the wood, and then he came into town and went, "I'm finished now." And that's like, and then they arrested him.
Oh, okay.
That's how the story goes.
This
Man, yeah, that's totally in the documentary and not the movie, though. I think the
It
movie
is in the
only
movie.
talks
It,
about
well,
the.
it is in
it's
the
in
first
like
movie.
it's in like a line or two. Yeah, one of the people they interview
when they're
mentions it,
interviewing the townspeople at the beginning of the first movie, one of the townspeople says that.
Okay, like where we get the 1 second of he makes them face in a corner. Also,
Right? Yeah.
Gotcha.
Which I didn't catch
Yeah, here
the first time I watched that movie.
like in this scene, I was like, why is this sales clerk refusing to sell to her? Because she's goth. Like, I don't.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like
She doesn't-
she knows that she's there because it's the Blair Witch, and they're like,
How
the
would you know?
townspeople, well, look at her.
It's okay. That's
was-
that's.
There was probably no one who
Stereotyping.
looked like her in this town before that movie came out.
Yeah, well, this sales clerk and this interaction, if it were the case, totally deserves the treatment she's getting.
Oh, the weirdos are gone.
The mechanic was gone too.
I do like this. Oh, I bet your fender a little bit thing. That's a good gag when you actually see the van.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense, but oh god, there's a fake
there's
owl
that.
outside.
Fucking owl again.
Dude, she looks so much like Laura Linney. I can't unsee it now that I have that realization.
See, this is why.
Oh.
Well, I won't say it.
God, like everyone had those fucking headphones too.
Like how he's just watching her on a monitor, like a normal person.
Yeah.
He had a
What?
much. Yeah, he's got a surveillance system and a sweet editing system. It's like, all right, This guy's got
Oh,
some
hell
crazy
yeah.
video equipment.
CD player
Oh,
connected to the van.
oh yeah, she's with the cassette tape. Yeah, those kids look
that
like
was-
shit.
Yeah, it was a little too long. Like they lingered on those kids a little too long.
It looks like an epic. Like you would. I've seen that exact like makeup in Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe
Same.
that's why I liked this as an
$5 each quality.
And honestly, might have looked better in Are You Afraid of the Dark? Because it was like the Frozen Ghost episode, and that's exactly what those kids look like.
Yep.
It's just
But those are the kids Rust and Parr murdered.
Yeah, it's just a weird thing. It's interesting to expand upon, considering like if you didn't see, I guess the documentaries that you guys are talking about that were DVD extras,
Right.
which should probably just like come out before this movie came out, since it was only released.
There's
like, a year
the
later.
information is there in the first film, but they don't reinforce it in this film, which they needed to do.
Yeah, how many
Right.
people like are gonna remember that from like the probably one viewing they had of that movie before this came out?
Right. Yeah, they needed to like kind of really go into more of the history of the town, I
'Cause
think.
Rustin Parr was probably someone that was just under the influence of the Blair Witch, right? So,
Right. Yeah. That's what
Right.
it was supposed to be.
Yeah. What they could have expanded upon more is who the actual Blair Witch is, which they talk about, but they don't emphasize enough. And that's kind of who the focal point of the, that like investigation should be on, the actual person that becomes the Blair Witch, or is apparently supposedly the Blair Witch.
Which is
what
why I
is her
think
name again?
the prequel idea would be a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. What is
Ellie
the
Kidward.
the person who becomes the, yeah, but like
Ellie
I
Kidward, yeah.
don't remember that offhand because it's not mentioned enough.
See, Zach, you weren't obsessed with the website and digging through the mounds and mounds of information and finding all the weird Easter eggs. There were people that were. I'm going to count that as a shocker reference. It's not, but I'm going to.
That was supposed to be him, right? That's supposed to be like what's going to happen to him.
Yeah.
Even though they don't give people, I don't think in '99 they were still giving people the chair.
Oh, I don't think so.
Yeah, no. So that doesn't make sense.
I mean, that was probably the best makeup in the movie.
Yeah. I do love a good electric chair scene, you know?
So is the only entrance to this house like through this bridge?
Yes.
There's no other way to get.
Yeah. Which is definitely a
Such
fire
terrible
hazard.
design.
Yeah, a ridiculous fire hazard.
This also looks kind of like the lair that Darkman resides in as well.
Oh yeah.
You know, where he does
Yeah.
like all his like makeup, like it puts his masks and.
God, we should do a commentary for that. I love that movie. I think
good
I have
movie.
it on Blu-ray. I'm not sure.
Oh, Darkman. Yeah, I have the original Blu-ray. I'd love to have the maybe
This
if the
fucking
Shout
chick has
Factory
just been
puts out a
sleeping
4K.
the whole time.
I had no idea that those
it is
Easter eggs
on
were only on
4K.
the DVD.
That's what I had read. I don't know if it's accurate. I
It's
haven't
like-
been seeing
I
anything.
think
that
I
jumps
think that
out.
is accurate because I've been looking for some of them and I haven't seen any of them.
Yeah.
And they're all
I
probably
do love that
like, things you
alligator,
could-
man.
I just realized all of the weed, all of the marijuana
Here
plants.
we go.
How did she?
So, yeah, his pot garden. I do love this gag that the car's just completely smashed to shit. Now I feel like the movie did nothing for so long that it progresses too quickly.
Yeah, it's going by really fast.
Yeah. Especially with just like the weirdness that has to happen rapid fire now because they didn't do a lot of it.
This guy didn't know he had this shit on his stomach.
Yeah, it's
Well, that shows how often
Well,
these people
that-
shower.
well that plays out into like does the stuff in this movie actually happen or is it all sort of like in their minds?
Yeah.
So yeah, so Erica's gone and we see what eventually happens. But I don't know.
She
It
disappeared just
seems-
like Tim Allen and the Santa Claus. Just
Yeah. Maybe there will be an Erica Disney Plus series called
See
the
now
Ericas.
the marks are gone. I like that Kim's makeup just
Ah.
like slowly comes off as the movie progresses. So you see like more what
Then he
she really
goes,
looks
"Hey, you
like.
better wipe that shit off, girl.
Wipe that shit off your face.
You're just a scared little girl underneath." No one in this movie is likable.
Why doesn't
God.
anyone leave? And no one says like, "That's it. I'm calling the police."
See, like, yeah, and it's like
Because
to
none
show
of them,
these people
again,
get
none of them think
crazy.
that none of them know about the murders. Okay, I guess this is where they. Okay, wait. I think they just called the police. I'm misremembering now.
Yeah, he has a sick little
No,
office phone too.
they're calling her dad is supposed to be a minister or something.
Oh, that's right. They are. Don't they talk to the sheriff on the phone though? And he tells them to sit tight.
Later
He's the one
on, I
telling
think,
them
yeah.
that they were that there's no daughter and that they disowned her.
Yeah, that she never
Um,
existed. Yeah.
So now they're wondering if she really existed, which I think would be a more interesting thing than what actually happens in this movie if she didn't exist. They'd
Oh,
have to
like if
find a
they
way to
never found her
illustrate
body.
that. Or like if they're like, "Oh yeah, she was never there," they go back to the scenes and you just like never see her or something.
They pull like a dead stream. That's a spoiler.
Yeah. Or a Fight Club. There's a spoiler.
The Sixth Sense.
Yeah, Sixth Sense. We're just gonna spoil some shit today. Oh my gosh. This
On your multiple
build up.
monitors.
It feels
Brought
like
to
it
you by
goes
Sony.
fast and then they start arguing for interminable amounts of time.
Yeah, I feel like most of the rest of the movie is just them arguing.
Yeah.
I'm not making a great case to defend the movie. Okay, this is where the sheriff calls. Okay, this is where you establish that they found the tour group murdered. So this should have happened like way sooner in the movie.
Yeah, like they could have started the movie off with like, you know, this sort of news report or like a bunch of.
So hold on. They're watching the news at 11. It's clearly daylight outside.
11 a.m.
Yeah, that well-known 11
Don't you watch the news at 11 a.m.?
I guess not.
Disembowel,
It's
Jeffrey.
Would he really just be like having a casual conversation with who he thinks is a murder suspect?
Yeah, I want someone to come up behind that sheriff and be like, "Who the hell are you giving this information to?"
He's like, "Hey, maybe we could have used that in the interrogation." You know, just saying.
And how does he just have his number offhand? Like,
well, he's like lived there his whole life, I guess. Now he's in the shot where he wasn't before.
He's waving at him. That's great.
The reporter,
I love that guy so much.
Like, who's this guy?
What is that guy else? What else has he been in? I need to look this up.
Well, you
He's
know
been in lots
what?
of
Maybe
shit.
he's the one likable character in this movie. Then maybe we
He
should
really
give him
is. Okay. Here we go, guys. This movie should have been about the sheriff. The sheriff is the main character, and he has to like try to figure out what
Piece
happened
this
to the
together.
3 kids.
Lanny Flaherty.
Yes.
I like the mouth. The eyes. The owl's mouth is still moving.
Oh, he was in Signs. He was the bookstore owner in Signs. Holy shit!
Nice.
I have not seen
recognized
Signs in a
him.
very long time.
The guy that's like looking at the commercials and counting all the soda commercials in Signs. That's who it is.
I have no.
It's like 12. There are 12 soda. What? Like he's saying like this the signs, like all the crop circles are just using them to sell like Pepsi like soda commercials. He's fantastic. I see. I knew he was familiar. Yeah, using basically the same accent. It's great.
I mean, it could just be how he talks.
He was also in Men in Black 3 as Obadiah Price. So there you go.
I have not seen Men in Black 3.
It's good.
I haven't either, and I was just hearing about it on a podcast, and I kind of want to see it now.
It's good. It's good.
Somebody was talking about how good it was.
It's in Natural Born Killers and Waterworlds.
But yeah, it makes sense to
Guys,
sign. He was great in
And again,
Signs.
this is just another scene where they're just like speculating what's going on.
smoking weed and arguing again.
Jeff looks like the lead singer of Hoobastank.
Mhm.
Looks like he should be in a like late 90s alt rock band or new metal band.
She makes herself appear and then she makes herself fucking disappear.
She's a witch, man.
Did he not have any other tour groups planned? Is this, like just this one group? And
Maybe he only does them on the weekend. I'm not really sure of the like timeline of when
Wop
this is happening
that
either.
shit
Like,
off your face.
like how many days have gone by?
You think your makeup and black clothes give you power? Good stuff.
they're just using the Blair Witch to sell these sodas.
I just realized that thing in the background says alligator boy.
She's eating the fake owl. That's like a tremendous shot, and they just hold on it for 2 seconds.
That was like a Night of the Living Dead reference. So
With
that
the
was like
chicken.
a reference to oh my god, I just saw in the background that Jeff has the original Burkittsville sign. Like the town's
yeah.
this which
He just
which was
steals
stolen in real life like not
Oh,
long
shit,
after the
really?
movie came out. Some people stole it because of
Ugh.
course. I wonder what happened to that sign.
Here he goes being horny again.
Some insane fan has it somewhere.
See, it's pretty fucked up that the weight of his boner makes it that he can't get across this bridge right now.
And that her hair is taped to her boobs to cover her nipples.
Oh, here we go. Ah! Okay, so is it just me or did that not seem that high up when they first went into the place?
No, it didn't seem that high up.
And now he's fucking Indiana Jones climbing up this shit.
Yeah, like I thought this was like he was just imagining this, but no, the bridge actually breaks.
See, I would have had the witch stomping his fingers right now or something.
Like the actual the action figure version.
No, I would have gone even worse and had like the Wizard of Oz version of a witch. Just the Wicked Witch of the West stomping on his fingers. I'll get you, my pretty. It would make more sense than some of the stuff they're doing right now.
That was the okay, this is the funniest shot in the movie. Just her spinning around on the bed. Just cut to her spinning around on the bed like a little fairy girl.
No, that it doesn't make sense for her to be possessed by Ellie Kedward, though, because she's getting all this information that Ellie wouldn't have had. It's just weird. I don't know. I mean, I guess she would know this stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, the dog barked right when we were talking about the dogs attacking Ellie Kedward.
Lydia, do you know something I don't know? Or
Yeah, she thinks she's going crazy. And Steven's saying, no, you're not, when clearly she fucking is.
Did you guys know there was a Blair Witch computer game that came out in 2000 called Blair Witch Volume 3: The Ellie Kedward Tale?
no, it doesn't surprise me.
No.
Sounds like an
It's-
unofficial thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Again, maybe like removing her from this environment will be helpful for her.
Uh-huh. But now their
But the
only
sheriff
way
said
out
to
is
stay
broken.
put.
Casey, you need to look up that game, man. Looks very interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, the yellow pages. Sorry, I'm a couple seconds behind, guys.
Okay, Windows 2000. It's on my abandonware. You can try to get it running on your computer right now.
So when did he get the time to make these files on them? Like, why does he have that?
Well, he's saying he doesn't know where these came from.
Oh, wow. It says the game just kind of goes off into a tangent about Native American folklore and starts ignoring the witch after a while.
Oh no.
That's a shame.
But these are the files. So these are the same files that the police are gonna like pull up on them, as we're saying now.
One of the screenshots looks like a guy shooting George Washington in the head with a musket, but George Washington has a fucking soul patch like Burn Notice does in this movie. Good times.
So the police have these files, yet they have them in the past because these police sequences take place after the main events of this movie. So how do they have the files? Like what?
Oh yeah, none of that makes any sense.
Not real.
Yeah.
That's I mean, that's the frustrating, but ultimately the kind of thing that is supposed to be creepy about this movie is that nothing is really happening, or at least they're either A, hallucinating all of this, or B, there is a real witch who is like, playing tricks with their mind.
The scariest thing about this movie is that you have to spend like 85 minutes with these people. And he has a bunch of lockers, in his place because sure. An old vending machine. It would be cool to have a vending machine in your apartment.
I was going to say, you're just jealous because you wish you could live in this factory.
I don't have enough stuff to like fill up that factory.
I want a vending machine.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a guy who lives in he basically like a warehouse downtown, and he kind of just like makes it his shop where he like makes tables and stuff. And it doesn't look like this because he's like an irresponsible adult. But if I were him, I would totally make it look like the Foot Clan.
Yeah. You need like a narc machine and like warehouse. A skate ramp.
Mm-hmm.
Some fucking ninjas just working out.
Several video games. Several arcade games.
So you guys probably talked about this earlier, but what was the director's intended vision for this movie? Because we're going to get to the reveal soon.
So
it was meant to be. You go ahead, Casey.
So it got changed so many times. He's basically saying that he wanted it to be ambiguous about who did the actual crime or if they were under the influence. But his opinion was that, yes, they did do the crime and they killed everyone. But then he was mad when the studios made that more clear, which is where I'm a bit confused, Chris.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's supposed to be very ambiguous. I think whatever he thinks is irrelevant. I think the movie is clearly supposed to be ambiguous of like, are they experiencing mass delusion or are they actually being under the influence of a witch?
And his idea was no witch. They were just delusional and killed. And I mean,
I don't think so. I think it's supposed to be ambiguous. I mean, maybe that was his intention, but I don't.
Yeah, think that's I think he's been quoted as saying that was his intention, is what I mean.
Okay, well, I think
or
intention
at least
or not,
his opinion.
I think it comes off as ambiguous.
Like first watch.
Like when I saw this movie as an 11-year-old, I didn't understand the ambiguous nature of the film. Right. So at the end of the movie, I was like, "Oh shit, the witch like made them see stuff and like changed the footage."
I mean, that's what I got out of it, more or less. I mean, it is supposed to be a Blair Witch movie.
And one scene of the sheriff getting the tapes and watching them would have explained everything, and we never get that scene. Because if the sheriff watched the tapes and it was just normal shit, Then it would have been fine.
I mean, it would have been more interesting, like if there was a shot of like a very like hint of like the Blair Witch in this footage, like you see the Blair Witch. But that's kind of the thing with this franchise is you never see the witch, you know.
Until the
Well,
third
when
one.
when they see what's her name,
They see
not Kim, not Erica,
Tristan.
Tristan. When they see
That's her name,
Tristan in this like footage coming up here, like I
She's
feel like that's
very
about as
much
close as you
being the
come to
witch.
seeing the witch.
Yeah.
Which I love the shot when it comes back from this footage and she's just like standing behind them looking the other way.
Did the police review this footage of them like
No.
partying? Of course not.
No. Because that would have explained
I
or
assume
taken
they
away
are going
any of
to
the...
though.
Yeah. It's not for us to see as the audience.
The police seeing this footage though doesn't like absolve them of the crime.
No. But
It just shows that they
say
were
the police
very
watch
fucked
this
up.
footage. Say the police watch this footage and then there's no witchy stuff happening. And they're just like, oh fuck, yeah, these people just decided to murder somebody. Like, say the police watch the footage and all of the shots of her doing this right now aren't even there. You know, there were some directions they could have gone with that to make it even weirder, but I mean, then they have the files. Yeah.
And notice how they don't have their clothes on, but when they woke up, all their clothes are on.
Notice that
Well, they cut out
their
the
idea
shots
of
of them
having an
coming back
orgy
and then
is
putting their
ripping
clothes on
papers
and
up.
Yeah.
laying down and falling asleep.
And yet they woke up at some point, put their clothes on, went back to sleep, didn't remember putting their clothes on.
And where did this skull altar come from all of a sudden?
They lit a bunch of candles. Or those lights, whatever the heck those are.
I think this scene also makes more sense if you know like the context of the director's like career, as far as like, you know, like this is the kind of stuff that people in Paradise Lost was saying was happening.
Mm-hmm.
The townspeople of West Memphis, Arkansas were saying like, oh yeah, this stuff is happening in the woods. People are.
I have not
Satan
seen
rituals.
Paradise Lost, but I have some familiarity with like the case and the the situation.
Yeah, people basically were saying like all of these rumors about goth kids doing Satan rituals in the woods, and that's why they murdered those kids.
Yeah, it's your basic satanic panic.
Afraid of kids listening to heavy metal.
Yeah. I think the real crime is they reused that owl again in this scene.
Oh shit, I didn't realize that was the owl.
Dude, I want to know where that owl is today. I want that owl.
It's probably decomposed at this point.
Okay, so she's pretty witched out right here.
Yeah, I'm assuming this is her like possessed.
So this is where like I'm figuring, oh, she's gonna turn off the camera and grab the tape out of it and hide it with the other ones. No, she just throws it on the ground.
Going, I'm not Laura Linney. I'm not Laura Linney.
And the camera's still going.
Yeah, and then she set the cameras all back up because now they're all set back up again.
Mm.
Okay, this is
But
kind of.
they were destroyed when they woke up in the morning, which makes no sense.
I do like that her back is turned here, like, you know, the end of the first movie, the creepy
Right.
image that everyone remembers, you know. It's a good callback. But she has to turn around.
Yeah, they don't really like build it up or anything.
Is it explained why there are like fake heads on the wall here? Like that's just his thing, I guess. He like has all these dummy heads in his place.
It was it was something with the factory. The factory made mannequins or something.
Yeah, why is he filming this? Just to try to get a confession. But then when she wraps the rope around her neck, you think he would have stopped filming.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like some taking the law into your own hands nonsense.
Yeah, why did they feel the need to wrap her with rope? Like,
no, she does it to herself.
She does it to
She
herself?
does it to herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, does she?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, see, that's her. That's her giving superhuman strength because she's the witch. That reaction was just
Yeah, the gasp. Like, what?
yeah.
I was so confused. I was like, did they mean to leave that in? Like,
He's like, no.
Are you sure?
I can't work under these conditions. It's not professional. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. She just Truman Show's one of my favorite movies.
No, this pretty soundly unravels though. But I do gotta say though, like this makes you think, right? Like you're wondering what all the weird shit means, which I think makes it successful, even though the movie might not have been very, and it killed the franchise for 20 years and the director's narrative filmmaking career for 20 years. But he made some great documentaries in the meantime. So
Well, if
you
I
know.
made a movie like this and the studio just totally screwed it over, I probably wouldn't bother making making narrative films anymore either.
I might try to make an indie film free of studios.
Maybe, but some people are just like, why bother?
Yeah, just fuck it.
Luckily, that didn't happen with Adam Wingard. When the one thing that the commentary for this movie and the commentary for the Adam Wingard Blair Witch have in common is that they, I think on the commentary, they're both like airing their grievances.
Oh, nice.
The director with this film is airing his grievances with how the film has changed, and Adam Wingard is airing his grievances with how the film was received. Because they're all like drinking in that commentary, and they're all like, well, the movie's come out and is a critical failure and failure at the box office. So we're drinking, and we're not going to give you any answers because fuck you guys, you didn't show up.
Did Adam
Wow.
Wingard like was there any decisions with like the last Blair Witch that came out like that he didn't agree with, like the edits that he had to make that he didn't want to make similar to this one? Or was
No, I
mainly
think it
his
was
vision?
completely no. I think it was completely the film they wanted to make.
That's a shame.
It was just not taken well.
I don't think that film is terrible. I think it's
I thought it was fun.
It's not. It's just
enjoyed
not
it.
my kind of film. It's not like the kind of film I wanted. It's a very different type of movie. It's not really like trying to be like the original at all.
no. I mean,
It's very loud. It's very in your face.
She cut that dude's dick off right there, by
She
the way.
did.
Yeah.
This was all filmed in the director's backyard, by the way. All of these murder
really?
scenes. Yeah, they shot them
Nice.
like weeks before the movie was supposed to come out.
well, they're very close up, so it's not like you can tell where they were shot. I mean, it's literally just you
Yeah.
see dirt and then skin and blood,
Yeah, just trees.
and the bridge is fixed.
so
What
the
the
bridge-
fuck?
Oh,
bridge is
apparently
fixed.
I never
So it's
I
right.
never rated the Blair Witch Project. What?
I really like all this slow-mo footage though. I think it's like intercut with this like news footage is actually pretty creepy.
Yeah, like all the report stuff looks good. Like again, like the beginning 5 minutes of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
That captures like the Blair Witch vibe to me. And I think that's what Adam Wingard's didn't capture as much. I mean, obviously, camera equipment have come a long way since, 99, but like
I feel like I was possessed by the witch because I didn't rate the Blair Witch Project, but I did rate Curse of the Blair Witch. That's just weird. Well,
I think the
I need to watch
Adam
Curse of the
Wingard Blair
Blair
Witch is like too slick. Like they came up with too many
Mhm.
justifications for the footage to be like good and constantly filming and just too much. It's like a roller coaster, like that movie.
I mean, I like the angle they tried to take with it. I just think they missed some of the kind of, I don't know, quaint sensibilities of the first one and the grittiness. of
Right.
that
There's
one.
not a quiet moment in that film.
No, not a quiet
Which
moment.
the creepiest moments
You
in the
never
original
see-
in the original Blair Witch are all of the quiet moments where you just hear like the most like subtle noise in the background. And there's
Are there
there's nothing
are
like
there
that.
are there any scenes with the townsfolk in that movie? Like They like interview people about the Blair Witch or try and get any intel
Maybe a
on it,
little
or-
bit at the beginning.
I did like that cast more than this cast, but that's just because like those characters more than these characters.
Yeah, there's no one to like in this movie except for the sheriff.
With
I
his
got
toothpick
you,
as he's leading this boy.
With the toothpick.
Which
Yeah,
I guess earlier he says like
Razor
you've been a pain
Ramon.
in this town's ass since you were 10, but I almost felt like he had like they sort of had like a decent relationship. But no, he seems to be perfectly glad that he now can convict this guy of murder.
They're just blaming Tristan for everything.
Here's the thing, like this reveal is fun, you know. I just don't think they earned this reveal with the movie they presented. You know what I mean? Like I think I like what they try to do here. I like, you know, the twist they try.
Yeah,
to
on
throw
paper
here.
it's really fucked up.
Yeah,
But if they would have waited for all the interrogation scenes until the end and we're wondering
Yeah.
exactly what they found and all that, this would have been a lot stronger.
yeah, like there's some good, like some good performances here, and them reacting, and going, "That's not what happened," and like that's cool. And there's been other horror films that have done similar things that I can't name off the top of my head right now, but
Some fans have re-edited this film, and if you're lucky, you might see one on YouTube. They get pulled a lot because they're using copywritten material to do this, but
Right.
some people have done the re-edit, and I haven't taken the chance to watch it, but I've read comments, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that was really good." You can find some Reddit threads about it.
Yeah, maybe one day we'll get lucky enough to get like a Scream Factory release where they put the original version and the
Hey,
director's
we got the producer's cut of Halloween 6, man. We
I
can get
know.
anything, right?
Never thought that would happen.
And then I watched it, and I wished I hadn't.
I was like,
Oh.
I mean, it's not better or worse than the original.
Those fucking robes, man. Oh my god.
I still
Those
prefer the
costumes for
original.
the cultists.
Sorry, producers cut fans. I still prefer the original theatrical
Same.
cut. At least it's got an exploding head in it.
Which is always
Yeah, this
good.
like I actually think that these reveals are really well executed though because of their reactions.
those stabs with the nail file weren't convincing to me, though. She was pulling that.
I don't think any
Those
you
are
could
some
really
fake
kill
wrestling
anybody with a nail
forearms.
file.
Have you seen John Wick? He killed someone with a pencil.
I mean, yeah, that's John
Yeah,
Wick,
but
though.
so did the Joker. It's been done. It's been done.
We don't exactly know how Erica is killed, though. We don't see him stab her, right?
No.
He just moves her into the closet, and we never see a
Yeah.
stab wound. So how does
Assume
she
he
die
choked her.
exactly?
I assume
guess,
he choked
yeah.
her, but
And again, he's naked again. Why is he naked again?
Just because they needed to show some man ass. They're just like, you know what? We need some cheeks to wake the audience up. Doesn't
yeah,
matter
his
whose they
reaction
are.
of like, that's not me is pretty, I don't know. I think that's pretty chilling.
No, these like, and this guy too. It's an odd note to end the movie on, but like,
Now, and see, this footage is great.
I thought he was filming with videotape, not 35 millimeter.
He was,
This
but
is clearly
the director
35 what we're
wanted.
watching here.
Yeah, the director came out and said that everything that's shot in 35 millimeters is supposed to be the truth, and everything shot on video is supposed to be fake, or vice versa.
what was most of the movie shot on?
It was vice versa. It wasn't shot on video.
Well, no, it
That's-
wasn't shot on video.
Really shot on
like the
35.
original.
Yeah.
No, that tracks. Because this is supposed to be video. And someone even edited the footage together. Wow.
And the original,
Yeah, they
that was all video, right? Or the original,
Right.
The original, no, the original
No,
mixed film
no.
and video.
was it a mixed?
Yeah, 16, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
it was
wasn't sure if
16 with
16 or video.
with sync sounds, because
Yeah,
they had their
the
own
black
like,
and white
DAT
footage is
recorders and
16.
stuff.
Oh, right. Yeah, that makes sense. And then the camcorder stuff is video, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And they had the separate DAT recorder, which is why they had 3 crew members, because one of them was the sound guy.
See, I like the ending note. That's cool. But it,
Yeah.
like how they got there doesn't work for me. So
I also like these
that's a great
helicopter
ending.
shots.
That's a great horror movie ending. That's like, turn it off, whatever. You know,
So, okay, guys, you got to tell the audience now, what is your up next that's showing up in the right-hand corner right now?
Oh, I got nothing because I'm watching this on Apple.
I've got Beautiful Boy, an Amazon original. I think that's with Steve Carell.
I have American Ninja 2 starring Michael Dudikoff. Okay.
I sadly watched it on Apple, so I'm not getting anything.
Beautiful Boy came out in 2018. I can't find out anything else about it.
So,
Steve Carell,
guys,
Timothy
what did you
Chalamet.
rate this? If we could give our audience a rating before we go here, what did we rate this?
I mean, I don't remember what I did rate this.
I gave it a 3.
If I was rating the ending, I'd give that like a 3.5. But the movie, like as a whole, I gave like 2 stars.
I gave it a 3, which apparently is what I gave the third movie as well.
I would put the third movie slightly ahead of this myself, but there is more interesting things going on here.
I probably would too, but I rated them at different times.
The third movie is like a more effective horror film for sure. And it's got some interesting ideas in
more
it.
cohesive.
It's just not the kind of film I would want to see after the first film.
Same with this one.
Chris, hypothetically, you've just been given the rights to the Blair Witch franchise. Congratulations. What are you going to do?
Oh, shit. I mean, I think there's many things we could do. I think we could hire... I'd give it to some of these like up and coming guys who want to do something with it, and maybe make
a movie series.
Ooh, a series could be interesting. Okay, here's what we do. We do a mini series where each episode shows a different time period, and we're basically building the history of Burkittsville.
Okay.
So you get a Rustin Parr episode.
Yes. We get first. Maybe we get or maybe we go backwards. Ooh, that would be even better. Yeah, we go backwards. So the last episode is basically Ellie Kedward being accused and murdered.
So we're doing Fear Street more or less, but Blair Witch, which I'm all for that shit. Let's do it.
Or the last season of Haunting of Hill House, where the second to last episode they go back and show you what happened.
I think Chris is thinking more Midnight Mass here. So basically, Mike Flanagan, we want you to do the next.
Yeah. So Mike Flanagan.
Something for you, Chris. Do you have the Midnight Mass soundtrack on vinyl?
No.
Because Big Bad Toy Store has it on sale for like $30 right now. The big 3 vinyl set. I'll send you a link.
Are you guys paying attention to the credits here? That is just like schizophrenic, someone running through the woods.
No, I turned it off already.
Yeah,
I
do like the credits though. That it's just this long ass helicopter shot of the woods.
Oh my god, it's making me.
This is before
That's really what
drones,
this movie is
man.
about being scared of the woods, which I am.
Okay, but Sam Raimi knows how to do a long shot through the woods. Just saying.
Well, yeah.
That just makes me want to throw up that sequence there.
There you go, Chris. $32.99.
Okay, so we get Mike Flanagan. Okay, we did do like an 8-episode series. The second to last episode, we show you Ellie Kedward and like her being accused, and then the last episode is about the sheriff investigating what happened to the 3 kids from the original movie.
Yes. And then getting possessed by the witch himself.
Right.
Yes. Just because.
Just being a general redneck.
Well, that was another rousing edition of Miserable Commentary. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at AMP Horror. That's AMP Horror. Definitely make sure to follow us on Instagram. That is the new central hub for the podcast. If you're just tuning in for the first time, interesting first episode to join in on, but I appreciate you guys listening. I hope you enjoyed.
You're obviously Blair Witch 2 fans. I hope we did you proud.
I hope you enjoyed this. Again, Shout Factory, if you need a commentary track for your Book of Shadows release, we are right here for you.
Cut it off before you hear this part, so we don't sound like simps.
And,
yeah.
Hopefully, the fact that I was like 2 seconds behind these guys throughout the whole thing was not.
I mean, you were constantly saying, "What owl?" What blood?
Chris, where can they find you on social media?
I am at Chris Pistol, Chris with a K, Pistol with a E, everywhere.
You also have another podcast. You want to talk about that real quickly?
Yeah,
Plug
it's
it.
on YouTube. It's called Can You Hear the Pod Tonight? It's me and my wife when we talk about Disney movies.
That's awesome. And you have a website, was it ChristopherPistol.com? And you did a great article on like your favorite movies last year. So I just want to plug
thank
that real
you.
quickly. Yeah.
Thank you. It was very hastily written.
Yeah. Well, if you missed the articles Chris used to write for our blog, Miserable Pile of Secrets, this harkens back to that. It's great. So check out his little blog post on ChristopherPistol.com where he talks about his favorite 10 movies last year.
Nice.
Casey, where can they find you on social media?
They can find me at Lucha Gringo on Twitter and Letterboxd and PlayStation Network. If you got a PlayStation, why aren't you playing Persona 4 Golden right now? Huh? Punk?
You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Earth2Zach, Earth the number 2, Zach, Z-A-K, also on Letterboxd. Yeah, so that's going to do it this week, guys. Make sure to check out our website, www.anothermiserabllepodcast.com as well. You can stream all the episodes there. We're also on all your favorite streaming services, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, basically everything. Please give us a follow there, subscribe if you enjoy what we do. Consider leaving us a nice review on Apple Podcasts. That would be super awesome. If you feel like it, you know. But yeah, stay tuned. We're definitely going to be doing some more stuff. This was just a kind of fun way to ease into the year for us after our big best of show. If you have not listened to that, check out our best horror releases of 2022 episode. Really, really fun to do. Some great recommendations on there if you've missed out on a lot of releases that came out last year. And yeah, stay tuned. Starting in February, we will be doing some other stuff, maybe some more retrospective stuff. So keep your eyes out for that and take it easy. Have a great month.